It was a gun.
I'm not voting.
If we want to build our nation.
The problem with the Somalians.
Just want to experience something else than a black man.
Move on, move
Can't be
forward.
like a horse with blinkers on.
Honestly say, I was about to have
Corrupt
sex and then I pulled
crap,
up.
but it's nice.
Hi guys, my name is Lishay. I'm 22 years of age. I'm a filmmaker and I work for Street Talk TV.
Hi, good morning, Rushay. I'm 56 years old. My name is Kashifa Mohammed. I'm an activist in Hanover Park and a crime fighter from Hanover Park.
Hi, my name is Maimouna. I'm from the Vrygroen community. I'm 54 years old. And yeah, I'm originally from Grassy Park area, but I work within the Vrygroen and surrounding communities.
My name is Aisha. I'm from an organization called Women Up for the Nation, and I'm working in the area of Sakisdorp village, that's informal settlement, and St. Montague village and surrounding areas.
Okay, so I'll start off this conversation by asking a general question. What has been the biggest challenge in your community as a result of the pandemic?
Our biggest challenge is the gang violence in our community and getting people staying inside is our biggest challenge due to the COVID-19. The peak is at this moment at this very dangerous stage. And in our community, Hanover Park, people is dying, people get shot, people is dying of COVID-19. And that is our biggest challenge in Hanover Park.
I think for us as an organization, it was really about who was coming now to the food line. We had gangsters in it was very, loud and making sure that we must know that they are in charge of their community and seeing the numbers rising, the social distance, having no masks, expecting people to wear masks where there's no income to buy even a 5 rand or a 10 rand mask, seeing the people's, hopelessness in their eyes, having lines from one road leading into another road, not having enough resources for the community.
I think the biggest challenge for us is now in this COVID-19 time is also, like Maimouna said, with the feeding. The resources is very limited. And the other part also for us is the gang violence. The gang violence is getting more worse now. And I mean, for this time, when it's COVID-19 and you get the gang violence, you get load shedding. So it's a lot of things, and then promises that was made with people for UIF that they're going to get their money even if they're not at work. UIF people is still waiting. Our feeding, and especially for our adults and our seniors, it's very challenging because we don't get resources where we can say that the councillors or whatever from this Western Cape government is going to support us.
I also wanted to ask on the gang violence, like why do you ladies think that why do you think it's so bad, like given the circumstances, like even now during lockdown?
What is actually happening in Hanover Park is like, it seems like these gangsters, they just don't care about the community. They don't care about our children. They don't care about our elderly people. So our hands is actually at this moment so tight because of lockdown and the COVID-19. We can't even enter a police station, as the lady said, like social distance and with masks. Our people in Hanover Park can't even go lay charges at our police station. They are turned away from our police station. And that makes the gangsters so taking over Hanover Park. And also what I notice in Hanover Park is like there is a hunger in Hanover Park. And we are the Hanover Park Can organization, and we do feed our community. So we just had to slow down because we had to look at our own self, our own health, and our own families. We're also doing the social distance at pay points like Pension Day, Disability Day, and SASA Day. So we're keeping social distance. We're doing the awareness of COVID-19. But it seems like this gangsters of Hanover Park, they disrespect my community.
It's very challenging for us now this time, and for me sometimes for the shooting that is now happening more, it actually makes me to think that what must still happen next, because everything is just coming down in once now. It's too much, I think, for our community also to take this on a plate. It's a lot for us, and I mean sometimes you can't actually handle this, and especially for kids when they have to come for feeding times and they're busy shooting and kids start running, where should they go to? So that is actually a challenge for us in our area here, where I can say regarding gangsters. We had twice where they came and they wanted to push in front of the line, but we said to them, as they have got discipline for their gangs, they are not going to come disrupt our children or our elderly that is standing in the line to shoot.
Gangsterism has always been dominant in all our communities.
Mm.
And, it, it is once again, we need to give it back to the community. And yes, the fear is there. We fear for our own lives because I could see when the start of COVID-19, when the gangsters starting to come out and emerge here in front of rainbows, which has never been the case. I could see that they really tried to control what was happening here by us because they saw a lot of donations coming in. They saw a lot of people coming in and out with fancy cars. They saw people making films and taking pictures and stuff. And I thought to myself that the idea that they have was to control what was happening here at Rainbows. But we as the organization didn't allow them to control what was happening here. And we made sure that they understand that we will not tolerate their behavior here by the organization. And also the community that was standing in this line, they put the gangsters in their places. And also the community that lives in Vrygrond went to the gang leader. And apparently the gang leader put those gangsters in their places that actually came and disturbed the feeding program here at Rainbows.
We get children 12, 13 years old that get suspended from school. I mean, how can the education department allow this? Because when you suspend a child from school, you actually drive him in the hands of the gangsters. Because I can tell you, this old gangsters or the manna like they call them, I call them like morphs, because on the end of the day, they are using our young children. They are not even doing the job themselves. And it's most of our children that they are using that is coming out of drug-related families. I can tell you, we're running the feeding scheme here. We have kids that comes here 4 years old, 3 years old, 5 years old that doesn't even have an adult that is with them. But when they have their food, they will sit on the pavement and they will eat their food because they're not going to go home because my brother or my sisters or my parents that's on drugs is going to take my food from us.
Most of our problems in Hanover Park is that our mothers are in denial because their children are gangsters, their children are shooting. And for us to work with those mothers and with those gangsters is very hard because we're having this thing of domestic violence that is rising in our community. It's like these gangsters just disrespect my community of Hanover Park, and we also had it with these gangsters that taking over our place. But by the end of the day, it takes unity, not from just the leaders, but from each and everyone in Hanover Park to combat this crime.
Believe me, there are people that is against us. Nobody wants to see good happening in the area. And especially when it's people that are selling drugs. Because now you disrupt the peace. You understand? They don't want that kind of peace in the community. And people like us who's trying to do good, they don't want that because they want to swallow our kids in. They want to swallow our kids in and they want to groom them from the age as young as possible. And these kids come from maybe homes where there is no real role model. They go to their homes, there's maybe a drug father, a drug mother. I mean, I see it in our community. I'm not sure in your community, but when I've visited some homes, I understand why the kids is on the street. Because when they go home, there's a drunk mother. When they go home, there's a drunk father. The house is empty. I've experienced all these situations. but I pull them in the organization. You know, I pull them into rainbows. I pull the youngsters in, whether they just clean up here, whether they're in the kitchen, if they don't want to work in the garden. I make sure I create opportunities for them.
Not even the politicians of the Western Cape can give you a safety plan regarding the violence that is happening in the community. If we see the army, the only time our community see the army is when they were shooting that happened. They will then drive around for an hour and then you won't see them again. So my thing is this: how many people must still die? And most of all the people that is dying outside now, it's innocent people. I mean, the youngest victim was Liam. He was 3 years old. It's innocent people. And my thing is this: on the end of the day, government is not playing its role because they are implementing and implementing, but they never produce on what they are implementing. And that is the concern for me.
I think it's like that in most colored communities, and the only way we can resolve it is if we stand together. And I'm not sure like how that will work, because I know in a lot of in the colored communities, it's hard for us colored people to kind of like stand together like that as a whole, because some people like won't agree with what the other has to say, or so it's very hard for like us to stand together.
In Hanover Park, there operates more than 12 gangs in Hanover Park. So for us as community and leaders, we go and see the community, we go and see the gang leaders, we speak to the gangsters, but things just happen randomly in Hanover Park, shootings and stuff like that. So just imagine there's 1,000 gangsters in Hanover Park. Can you engage with each and every gangster? Because in Hanover Park, children start shooting at the age of 9 and the age of 10. So for us to work in community, especially as community activists, we need the community to unite. We need the community of Hanover Park to stand together and fight this and take back our streets.
So it's almost like the gangsters has now got the main say in our communities now. They can do what they want to. They can kill our people like they want to. And it's true, we as communities needs to stand up, but it's hectic to stand up when you have the parents that is still encouraging the children, because you know why? My child is there with the gang, they're going to buy me electricity, they're going to buy me food, so I'm going to be with whatever they decide. And that is the saddest part that is happening in our communities.
We need to take our communities back. That has been my point. We must take our communities back, because the gang, believe me, they are very big when they are in a group, but they are very small when they are alone, because we had the one guy here alone and I gave him a bit of my mind. And the one thing that stood out is when he came back at 4 in the afternoon and apologized. And that was for me very big, that he came back to apologize for the behavior the morning that he had. But that was because he was in a group and he wanted to show who's in charge. So when they are alone and isolated, they are not so strong. But if they are in a group, then they want to control and show that they are in charge. But we must take our communities back. There's no way that anyone else is going to change the situation for us. We must really work side by side as community leaders with the community, and that is what the Rainbows has always been doing.
My dream is for a community of peace.
My dream is for this gang violence and this COVID-19 to stop.
My dream is to bring peace into my community and COVID-19 to stop, really.
My dream is for an equal opportunity for all.
Awesome.
And that's a crime-free society. Equal opportunities for all of us, that we can all live in peace.
Yazi, you should ever sit and talk with people, or else take a walk and create a straight talk. Talk what is nice, it will make you feel stronger. Listen what is right and say what is wrong. You should ever sit and talk with people, or else take a walk and create a straight talk. Talk what is nice, it will make you feel stronger. Listen what is right and say what is wrong.